For thousands of years, the Vietnamese people have lived in deep connections with nature and the unseen, honoring gods, legendary heroes, and protective spirits who watch over their families, their communities, and their nation. For this part, we journey into the world of Vietnamese deities, from the powerful forces of nature to heroic figures of history and the familiar household gods found in homes and business across the country. In ancient Vietnam, nature is not just scenery, it was alive. It had power, personality, and spirit. These become the natural gods, protectors of the land itself. Mountains were sacred homes of divine beings like Sơn Tinh, the mountain god who controls the wind and forest. Alongside him were Thần Núi, Thần Cao Sơn, and Thần Quý Minh, each guarding towering peaks and mountain passes. Rivers too carried their own gods. The Vietnamese honor mighty water deities such as Lạc Long Quân, the dragon lord of the sea, Linh Lang, Đông Hải Đại Vương, and Tô Lịch Giang Trần, the spirit of the ancient Tô Lịch River. And beneath every home lies the domain of the earth gods, Thổ Công, Hậu Thổ Phu Nhân, and Thần Bản Cảnh, watch over their land, ensuring safety, fertility, and stability. These natural deities formed the foundation of Vietnam's early spiritual life. Strong internal forces shaping the landscape and the people who live within it, connecting Vietnamese people to their land. As Vietnam developed, another group of deities rose to prominence, human gods. These were real historical figures whose courage, sacrifice, or leadership left such a deep mark that after death, the people elevate them to divine status. National heroes become protectors of the people. Trần Hưng Đạo, known today as San Zheng, the military genius who repelled Mongol invasions. The Shang sister, Hai Ba Zheng, fearless warrior queens who lead the first major rebellions against foreign rule. Lý Nam Đế, one of the early kings who established independence. Kings like Hùng Vương, Đinh Tiên Hoàng, and Lê Hoàng were not just rulers, they were seen as guardians of the nation's identity. Other historical figures such as Lý Nhật Quang and Phạm Ngũ Lão continue to be honored for their loyalty and bravery. Through worship, the Vietnamese people preserve the memories of those who shaped their country and their history. Beyond the grand legends and national heroes, Vietnam's spiritual world also lives in the everyday, within kitchens, small shops, and family altars. Vietnamese folklore honors the four immortals, or Tứ Bất Tử. They are revered by the people for their great contributions to the country and the spiritual life of the Vietnamese people. Sant Tản Viên, the mountain lord, or Sơn Tinh. Sant Giống, the giant child who defended the nation. Sant Chữ Đồng Tử, the symbol of love and traditions. Lastly, Đạo Mẫu, Mother Goddess, Liễu Hạnh, the compassionate Heavenly Mother. Đạo Mẫu, or Mother Goddess worship, traces its origin to prehistoric Vietnam, when early communities revered natural forces embodied in frame forms, as seen in Dòng Sơn drums and fertility symbol. Over centuries, these early beliefs evolved and were gradually humanized in scared female figures closely connected to Vietnamese history and daily life. 16th and the 17th centuries, during a time of social change, Đạo Mẫu was systematized into the Tam Phu and Tứ Phu traditions. At the center of this change was Liễu Hạnh, a mother goddess who connected the divine world with the human one. Because of her profound spiritual influence, Mother Goddess Liễu Hạnh was honored as one of Vietnam's four immortals, symbolized maternal power, protections, and moral balance. Alongside tả viên sơn thánh, thánh giống, and chữ đồng tử, she forms one of the four internal pillars of Vietnamese spiritual heritage. These four stand apart from each other deities. Their story are filled with layers of mythology, heroism, and spirituality, so powerful that they become everlasting symbols of Vietnamese culture. In every Vietnamese home, the warm flame of the kitchens belongs not only to the family, but also to the kitchen gods, ông Công, ông Táo. The story once told, once upon a time, Trọng Cao and Thị Nhi were a poor married couple who lived together for a long time without having children, which caused them to fight almost every day. After one time when Trọng Cao hit his wife, Thị Nhi ran away and later took Phạm Lang as her husband. Regretting his action, Trọng Cao went out to find his wife, but because of his poverty, he became a beggar. When he arrived at Thị Nhi's current home, they recognized each other. Afraid that Phạm Lang would misunderstand, Thị Nhi hid Trọng Cao in a haystack. Phạm Lang accidentally set the haystack on fire and Trọng Cao died from the burns. Thị Nhi then dashed into the fire and died with him, and Phạm Lang jumped into the flames and died with his wife. Touched by their love and loyalty to one another, Thượng Đế made the three of them become Táo Quân, whose duty is to watch over people's homes, kitchens, and behavior. From then on, every 23rd day of the last lunar month, Táo Quân will go up to the sky and report about their household's good deeds and their mistakes to the Jade Emperor. It is said that during this time, arguments should be avoided, for the kitchen god witnessed everything. Their report determines the family's fortune for the coming year. In front of nearly every shop in Vietnam sit two familiar figures, Thần Tài, the god of wealth, and Thổ Địa, the earth god. Thần Tài, originally from Chinese belief, is the bringer of fortune, prosperity, and business success. On the 10th day of the first lunar month, owners line up at drawers to buy offerings, hoping for a successful year. Beside him sit cheerful Thổ Địa, guardian of the land itself, with a friendly smile and a fan in his hand. He ensures peace, protects the shop, and guards off harmful spirit. Together, they form a divine partnership, one bringing wealth and the other ensuring safety and harmony. Solve most people's curiosity about two men sitting inside a high-quality, detailed wooden box in front of every business in Vietnam. Nature gods and national heroes to household spirits and immortal saints, Vietnam's deities remain woven into everyday life. They reflect a deep respect for balance, memory, and the unseen forces that guide the human world, an enduring spiritual heritage that continues to shape Vietnam today.
The multicolored flag seen in Vietnamese temples and festivals is known as the ngưỡng, or five colors flag. According to Vietnamese folklore, the flag has been associated with sacred authority since the time of the Trung sisters in the 1st century CE, when it was described as a divine flag, symbolizing heavenly power and protection. Over time, it became widely used in royal ceremonies, village festivals, and religious processions, eventually becoming a common symbol in Vietnamese folk religion. Each color represents one of the 5 elements believed to shape the universe. Red symbolizes fire, yellow is earth, blue or green symbolizes wood, White symbolizes metal, and black symbolizes water. Together, these colors express harmony between natural forces, spiritual protection, and the connection between human communities and the divine. Okay, we're here with Mr. Hùng, my colleague and friend at APU, and we wanted to ask him a few questions about Vietnamese folk religion because everybody knows he collects a lot of books and is kind of our resident expert. I don't want to set you up and make you feel like you're on the spot, but we really appreciate you contributing to our project.
Thank you for your nice introduction. And I think it's my honor to be part of your interview about a very important topic.
Okay. So my first question is, in your view, what is the essence of Vietnamese folk religion, the tradition? I know there are many different facets to the tradition, but in your opinion, what is the essence? What is the core essence of the beliefs and the practices of folk religion in Vietnam?
In my opinion, the essence of Vietnamese folk religion lies in its syncretic, non-organized worship of protective spirits, and they are deeply rooted in the Vietnamese, ancestor veneration, veneration of local heroes and historical figures, and they form, a spiritual foundation that coexists with Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism, and they express the practical well-being and community harmony and connection to the land and the family lineage.
Mm-hmm. To follow up on that, would you say that goddess worship is kind of like the practice or the belief that lies at the center of the tradition, or is it more the ancestral worship and the local spirits?
I think, Mother Goddess is the central. I think should be considered as the central concept, and in the awareness, of the Vietnamese people a long time ago, because the Mother Goddess is like the person who give birth to a nation. Mm-hmm. So that's why that is the main reason for us to venerate Mother Goddesses.
You can pause.
In Vietnam, religion shaped life. Life shaped beliefs, and beliefs shaped with taboos. And pregnant women were mainly the target for this.
Hello, ma'am. What would you like to eat today?
Anything is fine.
Anything? Mm-hmm. Okay, good choice. I'll have your food in a moment. Here's your crab meat.
For example, eating crab meat was believed to make the baby lie in crosswise during birth. I can't eat that!
What? You can't? I'm really sorry. Let me bring another one over. My sincere apologies. Here are your oysters.
And oysters made the babies excessively drool. This isn't funny. Are you trying to kill my baby?
What am I supposed to bring you then? Will you meet me at a seafood restaurant?
Maybe some clams and shrimp will be fine.
Y'all are weird.
Throughout Vietnamese history, spiritual beliefs and practices have played an important role in shaping daily life, culture, and traditions. Among these beliefs, ngưỡng, the fertility belief system, stand out as one of the oldest and most meaningful. In ancient Vietnam, people rely heavily on nature to survive, especially for farming.
Because of this, we believe that natural forces carry sacred, supernatural energy to sustain life and ensure good harvest. Vietnamese people develop what we call the fertility belief system, become deeply connected to everyday life. It appears in two main forms. Firstly, the worship of male and female reproductive organs, and the worship of the act of sexual union. This symbol may seem surprising today, but for ancient people, they simply represent life, creations, and growth. Fertility worship was never about sexuality. It was about honoring the powerful force that brings all living things into existence. Ancient Vietnamese believed that sacred energy existed both in nature and inside every person. Through rituals and ceremonies, they hoped to send this positive. I believe you heard about the spirit of the July full moon in many cultures, but have you heard of any interesting taboos related to this time in Vietnam?
I can't say I know any taboos that are associated with Ghost Month, right? The first time I experienced that culture, I was in Taiwan, in the city of Tainan. So I'm very familiar with what people do and how they make offerings to the ghosts and so on. But I don't really understand what people in Vietnam believe or what taboos are associated with that.
Every year, as the seventh moon rises, a quiet transformation sweeps through many Asian communities. This is the seventh lunar month, known in Vietnam as Rằm tháng 7, the full moon of the seventh month, and across Asia as the month of the wandering souls. It is a time when the gates of the underworld are believed to open, allowing spirits such as the hungry, the forgotten, and the ancestor to walk around the living. So, for the whole month, life is governed by the ancient wisdom and deep-rooted taboos, practices designed not out of fear, but out of respect, caution, and a desire to maintain harmony between worlds. The most fundamental rituals often revolve around food and offerings. Along roadside, you see offering placed for the wandering souls, unclaimed souls who have no family to worship them. First, we will begin by exploring the taboos associated with this month, examining their cultural significance and the traditions that have shaped them over time. When this offering, from food to residual ash from burnt votive paper are laid out, they are sacrosanct. The warning is absolute, never step over them. It is considered an act of profound disrespect that can invite bad fortune. If you accidentally violate this, a sincere apology is the only remedy. The common advice is to restrict going out late, especially for women and children. During the peak days of the month, it's a simple measure of self-protection when the spirit world is most active. A much graver warning is reserved for bodies of water. This taboo is fueled by chilling legend of water ghosts, Hùng Ma Sông Nước. The 7 lunar month's strong yin energy is believed to increase the risk of water-related accidents. River, lakes, or the sea should be avoided for swimming, or at least navigate with extreme caution only in safe and crowded areas. Even in public, entertainment shifts its focus during this month. The gate or outdoor stage performance is a characteristic cultural event. These performances are organized to entertain the wandering spirit. By custom, the first row seat is reserved specifically for the non-living audience. A mortal sitting there is considered to be intruding on the spirit's place, an act that could lead into danger and bad luck. For the living, the major milestones are put on hold. Lastly but not least, even some ordinary behavior during this month is also considered to be forbidden. Let's talk about them now. Whistling or singing after the dark is thought to easily invite wandering spirit to approach. People are quietly reminded to keep the night hours silent. And a social tester can carry a spiritual risk. A popular folk belief holds that every person is guarded by three invisible flames. On the one hand, and one on each shoulder, the word of evil. Placing a hand on these areas is believed to extinguish the protective flame, leaving the person vulnerable to the supernatural forces. The month of the Wandering Soul is a unique blend of reverence, remembrance, and the ritualized caution. It's a potent reminder that for many, the boundary between the living and the spiritual world is not a barrier, but a delicate membrane that requires careful, respectful navigations. In your culture, are there any actions that are forbidden during a meal? If yes, so what are they?
Well, yeah, but they're more like etiquette. Like you're not supposed to smack your lips or chew with your mouth open or slurp your noodles. But we don't really have any superstitions like you shouldn't put your chopsticks over the bowl or something like that.
When sitting down to eat in Vietnam, every texture carries meaning. Vietnamese dining culture is not only about enjoying food, it is all about respect, harmony, and maintaining good fortune. Now, let's explore some of the most well-known dining taboos and what they present in Vietnamese traditions. To begin with, if you have a closer look, shaking one leg is widely regarded as inappropriate. Despite its simple impoliteness, traditional Vietnamese physiognomy interprets this behavior as a sign of instability and poverty. A person who frequently shakes their leg is believed to struggle with self-discipline and the ability to retain wealth. Among the serious taboos is placing chopstick upright in the bowl of rice. This arrangement is traditionally reserved for offering to the ancestor, resembling the placement of burning incense. When done during an ordinary meal, it is viewed as a symbolic invitation to the deceased, bringing misfortune and negative energy to the household. Also, proper dining etiquette also discourages making loud noise while eating. Slurping, chewing audibly, or eating with the mouth open is considered disrespectful. This aligns with borders and cultural expectation of modesty and the consideration for those sharing the meal. Lastly, resting one hand below the table. Historically, eating without raising the bowl was associated with extreme poverty. Additionally, keeping one hand visible ensures a sense of safety and transparency, showing that nothing harmful is concealed. Also, children are often warned never tap the rice bowl. The sound is believed to attract wandering spirits, disturbing the household peace. As a result, tapping bowls or plate is interpreted as an omen of lifelong hardship and misfortune. Moving forward with the practice of offering votive paper, which is paper objects that burn to honor the household gods. These items are symbolic. They are not meant for the god to reuse, but to express gratitude, respect, and wishes for good fortune. These paper are specifically presented to the household gods, such as the god of wealth, earth god, and the kitchen god. When you first travel to Vietnam, by observing these occasions from a foreign point of view, what are your first impressions? Please explain it.
When I first came to Vietnam, immediately I was curious why people were burning the votive money in the streets, what they were doing on full moons, why they were leaving old temple items from their homes in random places like fields and medians, and I tried to understand so much, and I asked questions to people, and either people didn't want to answer or they couldn't answer. And those curiosities that I had are the reason why I suggested that this class do this project on Vietnamese folk religion to begin with, because there just aren't good sources online that can explain to foreigners what is going on. So I thought that will be our job. So yes, I'm familiar with it, but I hope that we can answer all of those questions with this project.
Yes, as a matter of fact, there are different papers are used to offer depending on the specific god and the occasions. For the god of wealth and the earth god, the gold boat and large gold ingot, these items symbolize wealth, luck, and prosperity, and represent the people hope that this god will bring them a prosperous year. For the kitchen god, which we call Tao, we will be offering a paper hat, a paper ropes, a paper boot, and a paper cap, and the most importantly, a paper cup. This tradition happened on the 23rd day of the 12th lunar month. The cup acts as Tao's spiritual vehicle, carrying him to the heaven, where we report the family yearly activities to the Jade Emperor. It is one of the most meaningful rituals before date. Furthermore, votive paper are also used to honor the ancestor and even the wandering souls, those who have no family to care for them. These offerings usually include paper coins, known as ghost money or virgin money. Burning these items show compassion and empathy, helping these lonely spirits feel warmth and inclusion during the Lunar New Year. And throughout all this practice, one belief remained: the burning votive paper, which helped deliver people wishes, gratitude, and hopes to the spiritual world, carrying their message beyond the physical realm. Another kind of votive paper, but present with a horse figure. Horse votive paper is a symbolic offering used to carry prayers, bring good fortune, and guide the souls of the deceased. In Vietnamese folk belief, it is offered to deities to show respect and seek luck, wealth, and success, often during events like opening a business or starting construction. During the line repayment ceremony, 5 horses in different colors represent the deities of the 5 directions. For generations, the Vietnamese people have preserved a wide range of customs to honor their ancestors and celebrate the spirit of gratitude. Among these traditions, the act of offering wine, ngưỡng, holds a deeply meaningful place. If bánh dần and bánh dày, present during day, symbolize fruits of a year labor, then ceremonial wine carries a similar significance. Distilled from the pure essence of rice and refined through patience, craftsmanship, it embodies the cultural identity and spiritual values of the Vietnamese people. Throughout thousands of years, the teaching of our ancestors have echoed the importance of remembering one's origins. Ngưỡng. When drinking the water, remember its source. And chim có tổ, người có tông. The bird have their nest, and humans have their roots. It is within the spiritual that the practice of the ancestor worship has been passed down from generation to generations. There is an old saying, vô tử bất thành lễ. Without wine, the ceremony is incomplete. In traditional belief, the present of ceremonial wine is essential, more than a ritual object. It is a gesture of respect, gratitude, and connections between the descendants and their ancestors. In the past, choosing the wine for an offering was done with a great care. Only white rice liquor, which is root jang, fermented from premium glutinous rice and distilled to a pure, fragrant intensity, and was considered worthy of the altar. The ceremonial wine was placed in a traditional gourd-shaped flask known as a ngưỡng. This vessel ensured that the wine remained in its purest form when presented to ancestors. Depending on the local custom, an offering tray might include 1, 2, or 3 small cups of wine. Today, the tradition of offering wine continues, yet it faces the pressures of the modern life. In the rush of the contemporary routine, many ceremonial practices have been simplified. On some family altars, one may now find a mixture of foreign wines, local wines, a generic product, and even the counterfeit, which is no longer governed by a strict traditional principle. Still, the essence of the traditional endure. Through every cup of ceremonial wine, the Vietnamese people continue to honor their roots, express their gratitude, and preserve the cultural values passed on across the generations.
fix your wig? Why do I have to dress up like a girl?
OMG, what are you doing?
Oh, good grief, how clueless people can be. And hopefully you won't be as clueless as they are.
You want to know why these boys look so gorgeous? Oh, picture this. You're in the 1960s.
If you were firstborn, such as this young man over here, you could actually have a chance of getting kidnapped by a demonic spirit. If you're dressed up like that. And to combat this, they would actually have to wear wigs and lipstick to mask their masculinity so that they would not get kidnapped by that demon.
I guess I understand that now. Hey, what are you doing here?
What? What am I doing here? Oh, they see me. I'm finally done with my cake. I've got my flowers, and my friends are right there.
Wait, stop. What do you think they're doing?
I'm preparing my funeral. What does it look like I'm doing?
We better set up your funeral just in case something bad happens today.
What?
Sorry, but today is the 5th. You can't celebrate your birthday today, or 9 days, or 18 days from now.
Wait, so you're telling me I can't celebrate my birthday on the 5th, 14th, or 23rd? Are you joking? Why is that?
Because those are unlucky days. If you want to stay safe, you need to see a fortune teller to know which days are safe.
Girl, you expect me to believe some random stranger that appeared behind me while I was preparing my cake? Impossible. Talk to the hand. I'm just saying.
A few moments later.
Oh God!
2 hours later.
Oh, good grief! I forgot my wallet. I can't believe I actually lost my wallet. Where could it actually be?
Tuss, what did I say?
Okay, fine. You are right. Is that what you want to hear?
There's more to come.
What do you mean? Oh my God, are you serious? My phone just broke.
So to the casual outsider, like a foreigner like myself, when you see Vietnamese people practicing the folk religion, a lot of the practices might come across as being superstitious. So my question is, do you think Vietnamese folk religion has a lot of superstitions?
I think that, okay, because we know that Vietnamese folk religion is a rich blend of, Vietnamese like mother goddesses veneration, and Buddhism, Taoism, spiritualism, and indigenous animistic or shamanistic traditions, and they are woven into daily life. Okay, however, some are labeled superstitious. That may come from a combination of cultural belief, cultural tradition, and some modern misinterpretations, and an outsider perspective may focus on some specific rituals like first fooding as a mere superstition, and I think it's some of the practices in Vietnam have been commercialized, okay, and that gives an outsider an impression that it's superstitious, and we have something like it's just what my opinion is about.
Okay.
Oh, what an adorable little baby!
What? How dare you pat my kid on the head? Oh, come here, sweetie. Let's go away from this mean, horrible lady.
What is she on about? All I did was just pat a child.
You inconsiderate buffoon. You might have cursed that child for life, but I You could have potentially sucked the soul out of that little kid. Who are you talking about? Well, yeah, you heard me. In Vietnamese folk religion, it is believed that the person that pat the kid on the head is a demon trying to remove the soul out of its body, because it is believed that the head and shoulders contain the souls of the body.
Oh, I didn't mean to. She was just so cute.
These ignorant foreigners.
Time in Vietnam isn't just measured by the clock on the wall. It flows with the moon and the tides. For thousands of years, the Vietnamese people have lived by the lunar calendar, a rhyme that guides our harvest, our emotions, and our secrets. The holidays here aren't just days of work. They are a profound expression of three things: gratitude to the ancestors, harmony with nature, and the deep, unbreakable bond of family affection. From the first spark of spring to the quiet of winter, every ritual tells a story of who we are. It begins with the most scary time of all, Tết Nguyên Đán. The source text calls it a time of transition, but it is truly a rebirth. Before the new years arrive, we prepare, we sweep away the padlock of the past year, we fill our homes with peach blossoms and kumquat trees. It is a time of hope. When the clock strikes midnight, the transition Giao Thừa happens. It is a moment of pure connections, where the line between the ancestor and the living fades, and we send our prayer for peace and luck into the universe. But spirituality isn't just for the big holidays. It lives in the small, quiet moments of every month. On the first day, the Sok Day, and the 15th, the Vọng Day, the frantic pace of life slows down when the moon is full, symbolizing perfection and purity. Families gather at the altar. We offer simple things: fresh water, fruits, incense. This is a time for self-reflection, to cleanse the mind, to be good, and to wish for a month of smooth work and peace.
As the year ends on December 23rd, Vietnamese families celebrate Ông Táo, the kitchen god. Here's more than just one spirit. Here's the team of three deities who live in our kitchen. They watch over our home all year long, seeing everything we do. To say goodbye, we clean our homes and offer fruit, flowers, and paper clothes for the god to wear. The most important part of the ceremony is the three lives carps. We choose the carp because of an old legend. It says the carp is the only fish strong and brave enough to swim against the river and jump over a magical gate called the Dragon Gate. Once it jumps through, the fish transforms into a powerful, flying dragon. By release our live fish into a nearby river, we give Ông Táo a heavenly horse to reach the heavens quickly. His goal is to meet the trade emperor, the king of heaven. Ông Táo tells him if our family was kind or lazy during the year, we pray that he speaks well of us so we have good luck and a happy home in the coming year. He stays in heaven for 1 week and returns to our kitchen on New Year Eve to begin his watch over us once again. Spring continues with the Cold Food Festival on the 3rd day of the 3rd lunar month. On this day, tradition calls for us to abstain from using fire and instead enjoy bánh trôi or floating cakes. These are delicate white dumplings made from glutinous rice from a sweet warm sugar heart. The pure white dough symbolizes the sincerity and purity of our hearts, and we offer them to our ancestor. We turn our attention to the Hùng King commemorations in Phú Thọ province. This festival is truly unique to Vietnam. Rather than worshipping a distant god, we honor the actual founders and first kings of our nation. It is a powerful reminder for every child of our most important moral. When drinking water, remember the source. It teaches us that no matter how far we go, we must never forget our roots and the ancestors who built the land we stand on today. As the heat of summer arrives, we celebrate Tết Bà Ngọ on the 5th of May. It is a practical, earthly festival, eating sour fruits and sticky rice wines to kill the insects within the body and protect the crops outside. Then the moon swift in the 7th month for Vũ Lam, the season of filial piety. That is our Mother's Day, but deeply spiritual. It is also the time to pardon the wandering souls. The most touching image is the rose on the chest. Red if your mom is alive, white if she has passed. It is the moment that brings tears to many eyes, reminding us to cherish our parents while we can.
But the lunar calendar brings joy too. In August, under the brightest moon of the year, we celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival. It's a festival of reunion. The sound of drums, the star-shaped lanterns, and the sweetness of mooncakes symbolize life that is full and round, just like the moon. We close the cycle with ngưỡng on the 9th of the 9th. Thoughtless coming now, it remains us to seek high ground, drink chrysanthemum tea, and pray for longevity for our elders. Beyond the calendar, the very land of Vietnam is soaked in legend. In the north, the Young Festival brings history to life, reenacting the battles of Saint Young, one of the 4 immortals, honoring the spirits of defending the motherland. Nearby, in Bac Ninh, the air is filled with the hauntingly beautiful melodies of Hoàng Hồ. It's not just the singing, it's a cultural dialogue between men and women on dragon boats, a UNESCO heritage that preserves their poetic soul.
In the central region, we see the diversity of our roots at the Pole Naga Towers. Here, the Cham and Vietnamese traditions blend, honoring the mother of the country with sacred dance. And in the south, the spiritual energy is palpable at the Ba Chúa Sư Festival on Sand Mountain. Thousands gather for the sacred squashing of the statue ritual. Meanwhile, on the coast, fishermen own a Lord Whale at the Ngưỡng festival, parading ships to sea to welcome the spirit that protects them from the storm. Let's look closer at the coastal connection. In Bình Thuận province lies in Vạn Thủy Tú, built in 1762. This isn't just a building, it's a sanctuary of gratitude. Inside, the atmosphere is heavy with history. You are standing before the largest whale skeleton in Southeast Asia, 22 meters long, weighing 65 tons. To the fishermen, this is not just a museum exhibit, this is an ancestor. When a whale bleaches, they mourn it like a father. This temple, with its ancient Dutch architect and Han artifacts, proves that in Vietnam, we don't just respect people, we respect the nature that sustains us.
Finally, our journey ends where our nation began, the Hưng King Temple in Phú Thọ. Perched on Nghĩa Linh Mountain, 175 meters above in the sea, this place was the natural fortress of the first Vietnamese kingdom. The temple blends perfectly into the ancient tropical forest. You walk these steps, you are walking on the same grounds as our ancestors did thousands of years ago. It serves as a reminder that no matter where a Vietnamese person goes, they always have a home to return to. From the mountain to the sea, from the monthly full moon to the annual return to spring, this festival creates a spiritual picture. They connect us to our root, to our land, and each other. This is the soul of Vietnam.
As mentioned before, it is part of a festival called the Wandering Souls Festival, or in other words, the Hungry Ghost Festival, which occurs on the 7th month of the lunar calendar. A little backstory to why it's called the Wandering Souls Festival, so let's rewind a bit. On the 7th lunar month, the gates of hell open up, allowing for the souls to wander on the earth. Some of these souls are the ancestors, and so they do not have any malicious intent. But of course, the wandering souls, which is where the festival actually gets its name, often refers to the lonely spirits. Because of this, they usually lack families to care for them and give offerings to, or they may be suffering due to past misdeeds, caused by bad things to happen. So most Vietnamese folk set up offerings for these lost souls, so they are cared for, and so they do not have any, or so they don't cause any destruction or harm to people. Offerings usually include porridge, because it's believed that hungry ghosts have small throats and large stomachs, and because porridge is soft, it is easy for them to eat and be satisfied. And about the papers that we mentioned before, they're actually votive papers, and when they are burned, it is believed that they ascend to the astral realm. These votive papers usually include money, houses, and other goods the ancestors might need to live comfortably.
That is very helpful. I can pass this knowledge on to other people.
So in my experience, over the years, 15 years living in Vietnam, I will go to my wife's hometown, which is on the other side of the mountains in Dien Bien, the south of Hue, and I will ask people, what's going on here? Why are you doing this practice? And people, just whether or not they speak English, it's not really the situation. They are reluctant to tell me what the belief or what the practice is. So it's been really hard for me over the years to get answers to some of my questions. So my question here is, why are Vietnamese people reluctant to talk about this? Are they afraid that foreigners will misinterpret the tradition? Or is it taboo, possibly, to talk about these things?
I think that Vietnamese reluctance to talk about, Vietnamese folk religion may come from a combination of reasons like, cultural politeness. Like we try to avoid to talk about some sensitive topics, and other factors may include, historical state suppression and control. But I think the fact that, Vietnamese people are reluctant to talk about Vietnamese folk religion because many practices have been integrated so deeply, so that it's just like they are taken for granted. Okay, they are just about how things are done. So it's not considered as something like a topic for debate or a topic for explanation, and it's just it may be viewed as just something personal, like family matters. Okay, not a topic, not like something like public theology.
Mm-hmm. That answer makes the most sense to me. That it's just taken for granted. It just is. It is what it is. That's the way things are, and they just take it at kind of face value without feeling the need to go into it too deeply. But the part about the state and how things were in the past, that actually had not occurred to me, that people might be reluctant to talk about it because there used to be restrictions on certain practices and beliefs. But the last part of your answer makes perfect sense to me.
Now for a fun fact, do you know Big C? Well, there's actually an urban legend behind it. Let me think. As you see, we are in front of a big sea and we're here to tell a story. According to urban legend, in 2009, a girl went to purchase a fridge that cost 3 mil. She specifically asked for it to be delivered to her home, but when the delivery man arrived at said address, an old woman answered, and she said she didn't order anything. But when the delivery person showed her the receipt, the old woman burst out crying, saying that her deceased daughter had promised her to buy a new refrigerator. Hearing this, the delivery person rushed to the shop and reported to his boss, who found out that the money was ghost money. Mysteriously, the refrigerator caught fire sometime later. To this day, no one knows what made the fridge burst into flames, but what we do know is that this case of a wandering spirit, as mentioned before. That was very inspiring.
When you enter the gates of Bu Dai Sun Pagoda in Da Nang, you will discover a large Buddhist complex filled with familiar Mahayana imagery. Buddhas, bodhisattvas, stupas, and even a Tibetan-style prayer wheel. However, tucked away neatly in the southwest corner to the left of the main temple is a hidden sacred world of the goddess. She is the axis upon which Vietnamese folk religion revolves. In Vietnam, goddess worship belongs to an indigenous religious tradition known as Đạo Mẫu, or the religion of the mother goddesses. Rooted in Vietnamese folk religion, Đạo Mẫu developed alongside Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, and shamanism, and reflects local history, geography, and community life rather than formal scripture. At its center are powerful mother goddesses, or Mu, who govern the major realms of existence: heaven, water, mountains, and forest, and the human world. They are believed to protect communities, bring health and prosperity, and maintain balance between the visible and invisible worlds. One of the earliest and most influential of these figures is Holy Mother Po Nagar, a goddess of creation and protection whose worship originated among the Cham people and was later incorporated into Vietnamese folk religion. Bu Dai Song Pagoda in Da Nang offers a living example of this tradition. As visitors move from the Buddhist space into the folk religion area, the first goddess encounters is Hyun Chan Hui, marking a symbolic transition into the realm of Vietnamese folk deities. Positioned just beyond the Buddhist area, behind statues of Budai and Kwanan, she functions as a threshold guardian, marking the transition from Buddhist sacred space into Vietnamese folk religion. Figures like Huynh Chan Hui are common in Vietnam, locally venerated female protectors whose identities are not fixed in national canons, but rooted in place, memory, and community belief. Her position at this boundary reminds visitors that Vietnamese religious life is layered rather than exclusive. Buddhism and folk religion coexist, overlap, and support one another. Exploring further into the folk shrine area, we encounter Ba Dai Kan Hong, the great lady of heaven and earth. Her name comes from classical cosmological language, Kan representing heaven, Kon representing earth. She embodies the totality of the universe, the cosmic balance from which all realms emerged. Dressed in yellow, the color of earth, stability, and centrality, she represents the ground of existence itself, not a specific location or function, but the universal order that makes all others possible. Nearby is a paired shrine that shows two forms of the same divine authority. Behind stands Muade Tu Kam Sai, the mother goddess who governs the earthly realm, human society, justice, law, and moral order. Her black robes symbolize depth, authority, and the unseen foundations of social life. In front of her is Cho De Tu Kam Sai, a richly adorned female attendant who acts on the mother's behalf. While the mother embodies cosmic authority, the Chu is the approachable administrator, receiving petitions, intervening in disputes, and responding to human concerns. This pairing reflects a key principle of Vietnamese goddess worship. Female authority governs both cosmic order and practical justice. At the entrance to the main folk religion hall are the 12 Mê, also known as the 12 midwife goddesses. Each of these goddesses is believed to assist in shaping a child, its body, personality, health, and destiny. Birth in this worldview is not only biological, but cosmically guided. Their presence at the threshold of the hall emphasizes that life itself begins under the care of divine mothers. Nearby stand the 12 princesses of the forest, attendants of the mountain and forest realm. These figures represent specific landscapes, plants, animals, and ecological forces. In Vietnamese folk belief, nature is alive, feminine, and relational. Forests and mountains are not inert resources, but sacred spaces inhabited by protective spirits. This grouping highlights the deep environmental dimension of goddess worship in Vietnam. At the heart of Vietnamese identity stands O Cơ, the fairy queen and mythic mother of the Vietnamese people. According to legend, she gave birth to 100 eggs from which the ancestors of the Vietnamese emerged. She is not a Buddhist figure, nor a ritual goddess in the usual sense, but a sacred ancestress, linking goddess worship to national origin and collective memory. Paired with A Cơ is Lac Long Quan, the Dragon King and ancestral father. Together they represent complementary forces, mountain and sea, fairy and dragon, female and male. Their presence affirms that Vietnamese folk religion weaves myth, ancestry, and cosmology into a single sacred narrative. The red-robed goddess Mu Tông Tien represents the heavenly realm. She governs fate, authority, and cosmic order. Red symbolizes power and legitimacy. As one of the highest-ranking mother goddesses, she anchors the system in celestial authority while remaining part of a female-centered cosmology. Seated nearby are several male figures known as the Ong Hoang, including Ong Hoang Mui and Ong Hoang Chin. These are noble and protective figures who serve the mother goddesses. They represent cultural refinement, loyalty, and martial protection. One of the most important groupings in this shrine is a triad of mother goddesses. At the center is Mu Li Tin Hong Lin Sun Tan Mu, a sacred mountain mother dressed in yellow, representing the living landscape itself. She is flanked by Mu Chung Tien, the heavenly mother in red, and Mu Toi, the water mother in blue, sometimes shown riding a guardian beast. Together they express a complete cosmology. Another grouping shows Quan An, the Buddhist bodhisattva of compassion, seated behind Mu De Tu Kam Sai with her attendant Cho in front. This arrangement illustrates Vietnamese syncretism clearly. Buddhism provides an ethical horizon of compassion, while folk goddesses govern justice and daily life. The white-robed Muod Thai governs rivers, seas, rain, and movement. In coastal central Vietnam, she is especially important as a protector of fishermen, traders, and travelers. Finally, we encounter Quan Cong, identified by his red face and long beard, flanked by his loyal attendants, Chao Sung and Quan Bin. Quan Cong is revered for loyalty, righteousness, and moral integrity. In this context, he serves as a guardian and enforcer, protecting the shrine and upholding justice under higher divine authority. Together, these shrines show that Vietnamese folk religion is not chaotic or secondary. It is structured, layered, synchronistic, and deeply coherent. Goddess worship stands at its center, governing the cosmos, the land, society, and life itself. At Bui Dai Son Pagoda, this tradition continues as a living practice woven seamlessly into the broader religious landscape of Vietnam.